My name is Miriam Naiman, and I am joined this evening by two of my co-workers, Liz and Roni, who will be adding very important links to information that I am sharing in the chat. The chat is also a place where you can ask any of your questions. The event is recorded. You'll receive a recording, as also if you know people who said, oh, you attended, I wasn't able to, but I registered, they will also receive a recording of the event. I had already put the Answers in Advocacy phone number and email address at the top of the chat. Please don't ever hesitate to be in touch with you. And before I begin, I will just apologize. I'm getting over a flu and I may pop here and there. There are those of you who sent in questions beforehand, and I will be addressing some of those questions throughout this particular webinar and other questions at the end of the webinar. So let's begin. The topic of our webinar is the Israeli healthcare system and the Bituach Leumi connection. And the reason that we thought of this webinar is simply because many people ask, what is the connection? I don't even really know what Bituach Leumi is. And of course, I do know what healthcare is. I have one of the 4 healthcare providers offered to me in the country. I might be a Maccabi member, a Leumit member, I might be a Meuchedet member, or a Klalit member. As you see in the chat, coming up in March 17th, the week of March 17th, there will actually be individual webinars by those kupot to address some of the needs that you have all shared in navigating the systems of your chosen kupa. And of course, you will get an email about that, just as you got an email about this. There is a very important connection between Bituach Leumi, the National Insurance Institute, and the healthcare system, as well as many other systems in the country. And now this is not moving. Here we go. So what is Bituach Leumi? Right? Bituach Leumi is the national insurance. They are responsible for all of the different social systems in the country. That may be for birth, that might be for employment, for disability, for healthcare, because healthcare is a social system in the country. It's a socialized system. It's why everyone has the opportunity to be covered by your Kupat Cholim, as well as elder care, as well as senior pensions for those who are eligible, as well as burial till 120. Bituach Leumi will be financially responsible for one who has had residency in the country and who has paid Bituach Leumi to bury an individual in the city cemetery in which they are living for free. That's a very small overview of Bituach Leumi. The Bituach Leumi website is translated fairly well into English at btl.gov.il. Now, I'm not watching the chat, but I know that Liz and Roni will be putting those links into the chat. Oops. It's very important to understand how Bituach Leumi works with you, not necessarily for you, but with you as a citizen of the country. And that's what we're going to discuss today. So this is a screenshot of the front page of the, when you go onto the website, and what you'll see. You see on the top left, I've already translated it into English, but you see it's in Hebrew and in other languages. There's a call center number for which if you call, you will need a PIN number, which you can easily get. You can apply for it online. You would, if you scroll down on the main page, on the home page, you would see something that said order a PIN. Sad but true, it gets delivered to your mailbox, not emailed to you, but it is a PIN number that you can get. You'll see that there are 4 major sections. There's something to talk about rights and benefits, insurance contributions, and a contact us. Under benefits is where you will find almost anything having to do with Bituach Leumi. It's worthwhile over a cup of coffee for you to spend the time, even if you don't have any particular need, to understand what the Bituach Leumi website looks like. Who is responsible for Bituach Leumi, and who is Bituach Leumi responsible to? Bituach Leumi is responsible for all of its citizens who have residency in the country. What does this mean? Now, it used to be, and all of you probably heard the number 183 days. I can't look at everybody to see, raise your hand. But I would assume that all of you have this magic number of 183 days, and 183 days is what constitutes residency in Israel. However, Bituach Leumi very recently have reevaluated what that means. And what that means is that it is no longer a number within a 12-month period, but rather looking at the amount of physical time spent in the country. An Oleh Chadash, within their first year of Aliyah, and I hope that you're all holding on to your chairs, because even Liz and Roni are not quite aware of this yet. A new Oleh within their first year, if they travel for more than a month, for more than 4 weeks out of the country, anywhere, will have their residency automatically canceled from Bituach Leumi unless you have notified Bituach Leumi, which is very easy to do and easy to do in English. The information on how to do that is on our website. And actually, for about the past 6 months, we've been sharing this information with Olim in our post-Aliyah guide. A person doesn't have to go into the Bituach Leumi office. If they do, they can, and it will be marked in the computer appropriately. I'll be leaving the country from March 5th until July 25th, and they'll mark that in the system. Or you can let them know online, like I said, in English. And now you've given the Bituach Leumi a heads up that, of course, you still are going to be considered a resident because you're coming back, because Israel is your center of life. But without letting them know this, in particular in the first year, they can't know. And like I said, if you travel for more than a month during your first year of Aliyah, your residency will be automatically canceled. Now, let's say that happens, because it has happened increasingly, which is why we made contact with our contact within Bituach Leumi, who's responsible for all residency in Israel. And she said, yes, this is a very, very new way to evaluate residency in Israel. And they have changed how they evaluate residency in Israel due to a lot of changes of immigrants. There are some immigrants who made Aliyah to have a passport. We all know those people. I used to call them the Corona Olim, but there's other Olim who have done the same thing. There are other Olim who travel because they have an elderly parent, because they have business, because of lots and lots of reasons. All you need to do is let Bituach Leumi know. If your residency has been canceled, first and foremost, please let us know so that we can guide you on how to reestablish your residency. Moreover, if you've lost your residency and it was reinstated, and then you travel again without letting Bituach Leumi know, or for whatever reason it was canceled a second time, know that Bituach Leumi may reevaluate and call you to see how long it might take to give you back your residency in Israel. If you've lost your residency, it means that you have also lost your health care and any other access to the benefits of Bituach Leumi. Again, that number, 183 days, is no longer a number to be considered in terms of evaluating one's time in Israel for residency. What is evaluated is the physical time that a person spends in Israel. This is taken directly from the Bituach Leumi website. There's an objective test and a subjective test, okay? This is something that I've just discussed now in terms of where is your place of residence and how much physical time are you spending in the country. How can you let Bituach Leumi know of your travel? Because there is no one here who wants to lose their health care. Again, coming back to the title of our webinar this evening, the connection between your healthcare system and the Bituach Leumi. And this is what happens, and this is what will happen. So you can either let someone know by your personal portal. I put on here my personal portal. And if you don't have a personal portal, which in Hebrew is called an atar ishi, ishi means personal, atar is like a website. I translated it for here to use portal. We are so happy to help you set that up, one for each of you, one for each adult in the family, so that you can follow along different things that they may want to communicate with you. Again, if I took a show of hands, I bet that everyone would have something to say about the mail system in the country. And it's not always right to rely on what we call snail mail, on the mail, to receive important documentation from Bituach Leumi. If you look at the top, you see there's something called michtavim. This is how they inform you of a lot of very important information. The one to the left of that says mismachim shehit kablu, forms that were received. So if I filled this out, all right, this is from my personal portal. I clicked the department that I want, which is called Bituach Ugvia, insurance and collection. And it has my name already because it's from my personal portal. It has my email already because it's from my personal portal. And I wrote in English that I will be leaving and why I'm going to be leaving. And then I could just hit send, shlicha. I would wait probably about 24 hours. And if I went back to my personal portal, I would see on mismachim shehit kablu that I have now uploaded this information. When you hit send, you will get an automated response of your request has been received. But that's all it will say. If you're not comfortable, or if you don't have a computer, or if you don't want to open up a personal portal, although I can't encourage you enough, I see that I am so sorry. I see that the graphic artist did not do what I needed her to do. Sorry, hold on. I'm so sorry. Is my screen share on? Yes, it is. You all see my screen? I hope so. I'm so sorry. I also had showed you how if you didn't have a personal portal, how it can be done just by going to the Bituach Leumi website. You can find this information on our website if you just put in the search Bituach Leumi travel, something like that, just those 3 words, and it'll come up. But there is a way, if you don't have a personal portal, to just write a Word document, upload that to your computer, save it, and then under it actually has like a paper airplane as an icon for shlichat mismachim, for sending any kind of forms. You can hit that. Again, you will choose Bituach Ugvia. Now, this is a lot to remember. It is on our website, and I do apologize that the graphic artist, for whatever reason, did not include that here. And you can send it in that way. And for I don't know how many times I've said it, please call us so that we can help you, so that you don't have to feel that either you have to do this alone, maybe you didn't do it correctly, or it's easier to just not do it and suffer the consequences. That is not the way to go. You don't want to lose your health care. All Israeli residents age 18 and yes.
I'm so sorry. I just want to make sure we're seeing your home screen. I'm not sure if that's what you wanted.
No, thank you.
I think we're seeing someone else's home screen, actually. I think this is someone else screen sharing.
Yeah, we're viewing Louise Thibault's screen, it says.
Okay, Louise, can you please stop screen sharing? Okay, I'm gonna go back.
Miriam, also, there are a lot of questions about exactly how much time one can be out and at what point do you have to report. So maybe
You should
at the end, we
always
can leave a
report.
few times, a
You-
few minutes at the end.
You should all, if you are going to be gone out of the country for more than a month, at any given time, let Bituach Leumi know. If you're going to be gone from March until May, and then again from June until August, and then again from September until November, let Bituach Leumi know.
And what if I have to go, let's say, for 5 months in a row?
Then you let
come back?
then you let Bituach Leumi know that
Yeah,
I will be
that's
gone from March 5th until August 5th, whatever 5 months is from now.
And that's just for the first year or always?
For now, it's in particular during the first year. They have a microscope on Olim Chadashim.
I'd ask you a question.
Yeah, hi. I wanted to know how we
No, for contributing to.
know if we've contributed to Bituach Leumi or not.
Aaron, what's your question? I'm so sorry, what?
Yeah, how do we know if I don't recall if we've contributed to Bituach Leumi or not. I don't know if this is taken out automatically somehow from our bank account.
Perfect. So Aaron has given us the introduction now to this second piece of the webinar. Okay, when I'm going to talk about insurance contributions, if everybody can please just mute themselves.
I have one question. I
Sure.
just got back to the States after being gone for more than a month. I just checked while you were giving your talk that they charged me even today, Maccabi, that I didn't lose my insurance. But now that I've been gone and I didn't report, what do I do?
So, okay, I'm going to cover both of those things right now. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So first of all, I will review, okay, what I've said until now, which was Bituach Leumi is responsible for all of the different socialized systems in the country. Okay. And you see my screen, everybody? Somebody tell me, you see my screen? It says the 4 coupots.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we talked about what Bituach Leumi is, which is the agency responsible for all of the different socialized systems in the country, which affect everybody here, which affect every citizen of the country. We discussed why you pay Bituach Leumi. A person pays Bituach Leumi so that they can be part of the healthcare system and have access to other insurances depending on their age, which is something I'm about to talk about now. What I didn't discuss, Aaron brought up a good point, is how do you know that you're even registered with Bituach Leumi? When you registered for the healthcare system, either when you made Aliyah from abroad and you got your healthcare registration at the airport, or you made Aliyah from within Israel and you registered for healthcare from within Israel, that was also your registration into the Bituach Leumi system. So there is no one who isn't registered. Everybody got registered without knowing. All right, then we spoke about residency, because Bituach Leumi has a responsibility to all residents of the country, all citizens and all residents of the country. Who is a resident? No longer is residency reflected by the number 183, which was a magic number for many, many years. Today, it is reflected by the physical amount of time you spend in the country and evaluated on a case-by-case basis based on you letting Bituach Leumi know. Now, someone said that they just got back and they saw that their Kupat Cholim had billed them. Why would your Kupat Cholim continue to bill you, but you may have lost your residency? That is because all of the kupot are charging you if you have supplemental insurance for your supplemental insurance, which is different from a contribution to the Bituach Leumi for your healthcare contribution. There are two different contributions that one will make to the Bituach Leumi in their lifetime. From the age of 18 until the age of retirement, an individual will pay a healthcare contribution as well as a national contribution. What is the age of retirement? I'm hoping that either Roni or Liz will put that link into the chat. For men, that is the age of 67. For women, as of a year ago, that has changed to fluctuate anywhere from 62 to 67 for those of you born after 1947. Please have a look, because I can't go through each age range. It really does fluctuate from 62 to 62 and 4 months to 62 and 8 months. But if you are a woman listening, you will want to know what your responsibility is. Now, somebody asked one of the questions, if they are not a tax resident of Israel and not earning income in Israel, are they still responsible to pay Bituach Leumi? And the answer is yes. Bituach Leumi has no connection with the tax authority. It is strictly the contributions paid to receive the insurances offered by the Bituach Leumi. Whether you need them or not, by law, one must pay what they are meant to pay and be a member of one of the Kupot Cholim. Whether you use it or not, that's up to you. Olim Chadashim have a benefit of not paying any healthcare contribution for the first 6 months. That's why when you read your rights and benefits and you were told that healthcare is free for the first 6 months, that's what that means. But you may already realize that when you have supplemental insurance from your kupa, that is something that you pay automatically right away. There is no benefit to that except for that you have that eligibility. The national insurance contribution is something that is paid, again, only for those 18 to the age of retirement after your 1-year anniversary. There are some of you who may be exempt from paying a national insurance contribution or even a health insurance contribution. And this is a housewife. I don't see everybody anymore, but this is somebody in the army, somebody who is about to go into the army, about shirut. There are certain exemptions, which you can, again, find on the Bituach Leumi website. Who is not a housewife? A woman who is of retiree age is not considered a housewife by Bituach Leumi simply because, and don't shoot the messenger, simply because she is not considered within the employment workforce, myself included, as I slowly get there in age. So that means that if you are over retiree age and you are a woman, you and your spouse, if you are married, will both be paying an individual health insurance contribution from your 6th month going forward after your date of Aliyah. How much will you pay? 116 shekel monthly. You will be billed quarterly. Let's say that you're about 4 months in to your age of retirement and you are a woman. That means that you may pay 203 shekel a month if you are not working for those 4 months, and then it'll go down to just the 116 months. Because for those 4 months, you were still under the obligation to pay the national insurance contribution as well. This is very confusing for most people. If you are confused, you're in very, very good company. So I'm just going to repeat. The Bituach Leumi has 2 different sections to the contributions that you are obligated to pay. One is a health insurance contribution, and one is a national insurance contribution. Everyone is responsible to pay a healthcare contribution. If you are over the age of retirement, and you are married, both spouses will pay their own health insurance contribution of 116 shekel monthly after your 6-month anniversary. If you are under the age of retirement and over the age of 18 and don't fall into any of the categories that are exempt, you will then pay the healthcare and national contribution after your 1-year mark. Now, if you're employed, this is all taken out from your paycheck automatically. There's nothing for you to worry about at all. And if you are married and your wife is a housewife and you are working and she is under the age of retirement, then again, everything will be taken care of from your paycheck. Unfortunately, it doesn't go the other way. Women cannot cover their husbands in terms of any payment from their paycheck. There are certain services that the Bituach Leumi covers and certain services that your Kupat Cholim covers. It doesn't matter which Kupa you have. Your basic level of insurance is covered by the Bituach Leumi. This is the law that says every citizen, every resident of the country is able to have healthcare insurance regardless of age and regardless of any pre-existing conditions. Your supplemental, as you know, comes directly from your Kupat Cholim. Nursing care, because you've had some type of surgery or something has happened and you cannot leave the house, you're not mobile. Nursing care from your Kupa can be ordered through your family doctor for a nurse to come and check your sutures, to change an IV, for OT or PT to happen in your home if you're not able to leave the home. Long-term care is something that's offered through the Bituach Leumi and for all residents. It has nothing to do with being an Oleh Chadash, is dependent on your worldwide passive income. It's a very respectable income, and if you are married, both spouses' income are taken into account, even if it's only one person who needs the long-term care. What happens is, and again, I'm counting on my coworkers to put the proper links into the chat, where you can find out exactly what the threshold is for eligibility. Now, this threshold changes every year. It's significantly higher than it was last year. Until 120, nobody should ever need it, but know that the ceiling amount gets higher and higher as years change. What is taken into account? Starting with your Social Security. There are questions on the form that identify income from abroad as well as from Israel, and questions that don't identify from abroad. And you need to answer whatever is being asked of you. If you are given this particular benefit, then you have the option to get long-term care, a caregiver into your home. You choose the caregiver, you choose the agency that's going to provide the caregiver, and the Bituach Leumi, pays the agency for the hours that you are receiving. If you need 24-hour care, it's similar but different. And if that's something that you need to know more about, please write us at answers@nbn.org.il, and we will answer that more privately.
Excuse me a moment. So for long-term care, you can sign up for that? How does that work to access it?
One would access only when they need it. It's not an insurance benefit that you can get, that you can pay into from Bituach Leumi. It is something that you apply for as necessary, because what happens is that you must also then attach proof of why you are applying for this long-term benefit. Have you been hospitalized? Has something happened? And then a nurse will come and assess the situation. If you are under the age of 90, will come and assess the situation, and by her assessment, the amount of hours of care will be awarded to you. The Kupot Cholim also offer a more privatized long-term care that one can pay into. However, it is very much specific to age and pre-existing conditions. So I only took a brief look earlier on who's attending today, and many of you attending today might not have eligibility for that long-term insurance benefit from the Kupa. The long-term benefit from Bituach Leumi is till 120 should a person need it. When it's from the Kupa, it is a 5-year insurance plan only. This is not specific to long-term care or seniors, and so I'm going to move on. We will be having another one specific for senior needs. You can also find last year's on our YouTube channel, but some of those numbers may be off because, as I said, numbers change yearly. Some of you may have access private insurance, private health insurance. This has nothing to do with Bituach Leumi, but that doesn't absolve you from the obligation to pay your healthcare contribution to Bituach Leumi. There was a question about switching Kupot Cholim, and I've added it here. An individual has the ability to switch Kupot at specific times of the year. And then it will go into effect at the next quarter. If you are an Oleh Chadash, I'm sorry, I'm only using one gender here. If you are an Oleh Chadash, then you have the right to switch Kupot Cholim at any time within your first 14 days only of arrival. If that's the case, please write to us. We'll tell you how. If you haven't found it on our website or you found it confusing on how to switch Kupot Cholim, just let us know and we're happy to guide you. You can switch your Kupat Cholim online, especially if you have a personal portal, you can just take care of it online. When you switch Kupot Cholim, you will switch at the level in which you are switching from. So if you have the first tier of supplemental insurance, then you will switch into your new Kupa again with that first tier of insurance. You may need to provide a letter from your previous Kupat Cholim, excuse me. You may need to provide a letter stating, yes, you had whatever level you had, and now with your new Kupa, you will get that level as well. If you never had a supplemental plan and you're past your 90 days, and now you switch into a new Kupa, you will have a 6-month waiting period to use the benefits of the supplemental plans.
I'm fine.
Please, again, if everybody could mute themselves and put your questions in the chat. So when is a person responsible? So this is something we have already discussed. Is it at the 6-month mark or at the 12-month mark in your first year of Aliyah? When a person is employed, the contributions are taken automatically from the paycheck. When a person is eligible for income support after the completion of receiving their Sal Klita, they may be eligible for something called Demei Kiyum, called income support. This is not accessible to those who are studying, to those who are of retiree age. So that means that if you are not eligible for Demei Kiyum, that is when you begin to pay your healthcare contribution at the 6-month mark. If you are eligible for Demei Kiyum, for this income support, it will be important for Bituach Leumi to know so that they don't bill you, because it will extend your benefit of not paying the healthcare contribution until your 1-year anniversary. How can you let them know? The Misrad HaKlita, who gives you this benefit, can issue you a letter, and then you can upload that letter on your personal portal, and then you should be all set. If you've done that and you're not all set, what are you going to do? You're going to let us know so that we can help you with that. Setting up your payments. There's a variety of ways that you can set up your payments. Somebody, Aaron, had already asked if you are paying, if he's not paying, he's not sure. Have I done it correctly? I hope everybody has been able to see the screen. I see that the graphics person a little bit did not do what I wanted. Everybody sees my screen? Okay, I'll assume yes.
Yes, Miriam.
Yes.
Thank you. So again, I'd like to reiterate the importance of having a personal portal, because when you have a personal portal, you can easily set up what's called a Hora'at Keva, an automated withdrawal of the funds that you will need to pay with your credit card. Many people are successful in using a foreign credit card. Some are not. It may depend on your credit card, or it can be taken from your Israeli bank account. There is no such thing as too early and too late to set this up. We talked about residency. We talked about traveling for more than a month. If you are already paying your monthly contribution and you've traveled, this is taken into account, not that your residency won't be canceled, but it certainly will be reinstated much quicker. So now let's say you're going to travel at your 4th month of Aliyah and you're going to cross over that 6-month mark, you're already going to be away. If you have already set up your Horat Keva, then you're all good to go. They will start to take your payment automatically. There's no such thing as taking payment early. How can you know if they're taking your payment? If you have a personal portal, you can check. You can see how much you're being billed, how much they're taking out every month, and so forth. And this is just a personal plug on how it's really important to be proactive when you have a Horat Keva, an automated withdrawal system for any of your bills, to check. Make sure that you are being charged correctly. I get a lot of calls. I've been charged double. How come? But they don't realize that while they were perhaps by mistake charged double, they were also then credited very soon afterwards. So this is where a little bit of Ulpan can come in handy as well. But this is the easiest way to set up your payments. If you don't want to have a Horat Keva, zchutchem, that's okay. And you would pay quarterly. A lot of times people will get in the mail or in an email, most likely in the mail, a lot of pages with months and an amount and a QR code. And this is just to give you a heads up on what your payment schedule looks like. You can pay through that QR code. You can pay at the post office if you'd like, or you can even set up what's called Horat Keva, your automated withdrawal, with a piece of paper that you can download from the Bituach Leumi website, a particular form. Fill that out with your details, whether it's the bank or the credit card, upload it back to the Bituach Leumi site, and you should be all set. Even while you are abroad, even if you are going to be abroad for that 5-month period of time, you will still be responsible for paying your Bituach Leumi. Just like you are responsible for paying all of your utilities and whatever else it is that you need to pay while you are on vacation and while you travel. There's a lot of questions that you have. Whether this is clear or not, we're going to get to the end and you're going to say, I just still don't understand. So in addition to our resources that we can offer you, whether that's to be in touch with us, whether that's to sign up for our Translation Tuesday appointments. Today we had 10 people come in who just had whatever needs they had, and they were able to sit with somebody in our department one-on-one for paperwork that needed to be translated for an understanding of certain things. It does not include any legal documents such as a contract or a resume. We have volunteers throughout the country who can help and guide you. And of course, the Bituach Leumi website in English can be very, very helpful. I am going to reiterate again, before I go on to the Bituach Leumi questions that were sent, the importance of residency and how residency is evaluated. Everybody has the obligation to pay Bituach Leumi. If you were a Oleh Chadash, you know that you have that benefit of not paying anything for your first 6 months into your healthcare contribution, assuming that you are not employed. If you are employed, that money was taken directly from your paycheck. If you are of retiree age, you will only pay an insurance contribution till 120. Who is a retiree? If you are a man, that age is 67. If you are a woman, please have a look on the Bituach Leumi website or the link that was placed in the chat. It may be as late as 65 or as early as 62. Even 61. I can't see how old everybody is. After a year's time, if you are under the age of retirement, you will pay both a healthcare contribution and a general contribution. And that's because those who pay into the general contribution for 5 months, for 5 years, for 60 months, are then eligible automatically for a senior pension. If you made Aliyah before the age of 60, you may also be eligible for this pension. If you made Aliyah after the age of 62, what you may be eligible for is a welfare-based pension. Again, this is not a senior-specific webinar, so I'm not going to go too much into that. We have lots of information on what connotates eligibility for a special senior pension. For our topic today, what you are paying Bituach Leumi for is so that you can continue to be part of your healthcare system. Everybody here most likely travels or considers traveling. When you will be traveling for 1 month or more, it is imperative that you let Bituach Leumi know, either by going into the office or online. The choice is yours. We discuss the options of how to let them know online in English. If you continue to go in and out, in and out, in and out of the country, know that you might get a call from Bituach Leumi and say, where is your physical residence? Why do we see that you keep going out of the country? And it may be for grandchildren, and it may be for an elderly parent, and it may be for whatever personal reason you have, but they may want to know and they may question you because you have been offered insurances as a resident of the country. Okay, I am going to go now to some of the questions that were asked in general, okay, before I open up the floor a little bit more. Somebody shared, there were a couple people who shared of difficulties with their Kupat Cholim. Please attend the open forum that we are having starting on the week of the 17th for your specific Kupat Cholim. And that will be the perfect place to answer those questions, as well as how to navigate your Kupat Cholim's personal site so that you know how to talk to your doctor, how to renew prescriptions, how to check your blood work, and such. How can you verify that you're paying Bituach Leumi correctly? If you have a personal portal, or you'd like to have a personal portal, that is the easiest way for you to check, because it zooms in online based on your Tudat Zehut number to who you are. And this way you can see how you've been billed and what you're paying. The basic for the healthcare insurance is 116 shekel a month. Other questions? Somebody said they heard that if they have a part-time job, even for a couple of hours a week, they have to pay Bituach Leumi. So I will share with you that if you have a housekeeper, if you have an ozeret, if you have somebody who cleans your house, yes, you are legally responsible for paying their Bituach Leumi based on the amount of hours they work for you in a month. So let's say on average, they work for you 28 hours in a month. This is something that you can set up on the Bituach Leumi website. If you do a search under benefits and you look for domestic workers, that is where you will find this information. There is no age that one does not pay Bituach Leumi. So after the age of retirement, as we said, you are still responsible for paying your healthcare contribution. If you are receiving a benefit from Bituach Leumi, if you are receiving a monetary benefit from Bituach Leumi, then the money that you pay for your insurance contribution gets adjusted appropriately from the amount of money that they pay. So without you realizing, you are still paying your healthcare contribution. It was asked if there's a discount on medications for Olim Chadashim. No. However, you should speak to your kupa individually if you have a chronic care need, if you are receiving long-term insurance, Chok Siyud, from the Bituach Leumi, you may be eligible for certain benefits from your kupa. Somebody asked the amount of money that Bituach Leumi pays in retirement. It fluctuates. I'd rather not give an amount here. And if somebody is married, there's a spousal payment as well. Somebody asked if they were making payments for their Maccabi Shali, will the rate go up after their Aliyah anniversary? And the answer is no. Whatever you pay to your kuppah is specific to your kuppah. Somebody also asked about benefits of their Kupat Cholim. You may already realize that the website, I'm so sorry, that the websites of your Kupot Cholim in English are not the same as the ones in Hebrew. And that's true, and that's unfortunate. But you can Google Translate to find out other benefits that your Kupah may give you. Or go in one day and speak to somebody in the office and say, hi, I'm an English speaker, and I have whatever level of insurance you have. Can somebody please sit and explain to me all of the different services that I am paying for, because I really just don't know what it is that I'm paying for. Okay, please put your questions in the chat, and I am going to look at the chat now to see what other questions have come up. Unless somebody wants to,
Miriam, I don't know if you
yeah.
know this, someone was asking whether someone who receives a stipend has to pay Bituach Leumi.
So that's why I
like-
answered that question.
Oh, I'm
If you
sorry.
are receiving a benefit from Bituach Leumi, if you are receiving a monetary benefit from Bituach Leumi, you are still paying actually your insurance contribution, but it's being adjusted from the money that you get. So if you were supposed to get 5 shekel, you really might only get 4 shekel because money is being taken out for your insurance contribution.
If you are here for, if you're the 6 months, and if you have to leave before the 6 months are done, does the 6 free months continue when you come back?
No, it stops at the 6-month mark,
Okay,
no
but what
matter where
happens?
you are.
Oh, no matter where you are. Okay, thank you.
Okay, somebody has asked 2 questions. Somebody has asked if they work for an American company or a foreign company, how do they pay their Bituach Leumi? Please speak to an accountant. Very important, so that you don't become in arrears and that one day it doesn't catch up with you. There are various ways to pay out. For example, there's something called Route 38, and Route 38 is a company that you then can become an employee of, and that is how you end up paying your Bituach Leumi. But first and foremost, if you're working for a company abroad, please speak to an accountant. If a person is retired, you pay 116 shekel a month for your insurance contribution to the Bituach Leumi. If a person feels that they need to get their personal portal set up ASAP, I won't be in tomorrow because I'm really under the weather, but my 9 other coworkers and our volunteers are so happy to help you set up that personal portal. Yes, Bituach Leumi is separate from Kupat Cholim. But if you didn't have Bituach Leumi, you wouldn't have Kupat Cholim. You pay your Kupah for whatever supplemental insurance plan you have. The Bituach Leumi is what enables you to be part of your Kupah. That is why if you fall back and you lose your residency, or you fall back and you don't pay, eventually you do lose your Kupat Cholim, and that's not what we want to happen. If a person has received a letter of extension from the Misrad HaKlita, what are the requirements to receive that letter? You have to be eligible for Demei Kiyum, for income support. That eligibility does not extend to the retiree population or to students. If someone is getting a stipend, I don't know, Julia, if your question was answered. I don't. Somebody asked, they have a federal pension, which is a great pension. How do I set that up to pay since my pension is deposited? You want to set up your pension here in Israel, Jeff? Jeff, I don't know what you meant.
I mean, my pension gets deposited into my US bank account. I mean, I can transfer funds obviously to my Israeli account.
Okay,
Believe me, it's a pain in the butt to try to have US government pension transferred to have direct deposited to an Israeli account.
so then you don't want to do it, or you,
Personally, it's more trouble than it's really worth.
so not understanding your question. There, I would imagine that everybody here has their pensions and money in their bank account from abroad, that they continue to have that.
Jeff, are you asking whether or not you have to pay Bituach Leumi from your US account?
Right.
Even though your pension goes into your US account, may I assume that you have an Israeli bank account?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you can set up auto payment so it gets directly deducted from either your Israeli bank account or from a credit card, either foreign or Israeli.
Okay.
Thank you, Liz. I didn't understand the question. Any other questions?
Can you pay with a foreign credit card?
Most often, I've seen those credit
Perfect.
cards that are not accepted.
Visas tend to be fine.
If you've been out of the country for 2.5 months, do you have to tell them afterwards, or if you see that you're still being charged, you don't have to worry about it?
You will always be charged. Being charged has nothing to do with losing your residency, right? You could be out on vacation, but you still pay your gas bill because you don't want to lose your gas. Are you still out of the country? I didn't see you ask a
No, I
question.
returned February 15th.
Okay, and have you been to your kupa?
No,
So I think it's worth checking to make sure that you have not lost your residency.
when I look on my online portal, I don't see any letters or anything.
Perfect. Then hopefully you're good to go. This is, you want to know how new this is? This is as new as of today. When I said in the beginning that Liz and Ronnie also were just as not in the know, I meant it. This is of today as of 4 or 5 hours ago.
Yeah, I left 1 week left of I left on November 30th, and my Aliyah date was, I believe, December 8th of the previous year. So that was 1 week left in my year. So for the first year, I was here for 51 weeks.
Oh, good.
And now I've
Excellent.
been out for this year for the family reasons. I was out of the country for about a little over 2 months.
So that also could be the difference, because this is very specific to first year Olim. Ivan, you had a question.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, the relationship between the health plan, like Maccabi, and private doctors. If a private doctor, I go to, let's say if Maccabi doctor recommends I have, let's say, a root canal or something like that, can I go to a private doctor and get partially reimbursed or not?
Only if that private doctor partners with your kupa.
Okay, and also, let's say if that doctor recommends certain tests, whether it's an X-ray or sonogram or stuff like that, can I have it done with his? If he says, just give me a prescription for it, can that be done in Maccabi and paid for there?
If
Okay.
you can, it would have to then be like transcribed into a Maccabi prescription.
Okay, because I know that I went to somewhere and they wanted an X-ray, and they told me to go to Maccabi to have the X-ray, so I don't have to pay for it, except maybe the copay. But I'm wondering if that, so they have to be related to Maccabi, is that it?
If it's a dentist, yes. Yes.
And do you know if Maccabi pays for like implants and?
If you have the Maccabi supplemental, it's a financial participation, like everything with the Kupat Cholim, and so you can see how much that's going to cost.
Okay, that's the same as Maccabi Shali? No, the
So if you have Maccabi Shali, that's great, and you might be able to see how much they charge for it on the Maccabi website, but it will be in Hebrew. Or ask the next time you're at Maccabi Dent, ask them how much it will cost.
Okay.
Question on the,
Hi, sorry, I have a question.
Who's asking? Okay.
Okay. Is the year in Israel still calculated from your Aliyah year?
So that whole concept is now something of the past. There is no longer, when do I start counting? Liz and Roni will smile with me when we would get emails. I made Aliyah on March 5th at 2:05, and I'm coming back on this date at 3:07. How does Bituach Leumi count my days in Israel? Now, I realize that that's a very, exacerbated kind of example, but that's really what people were to do. And it is no longer a concept. What is evaluated is your time in Israel in any 12-month period, starting from your date of Aliyah. The regulation or the evaluation is a little bit more relaxed the second year going forward, going onwards, but very much so in the first year.
So I don't understand the difference. If it's calculated from, if your 12 months is calculated from your Aliyah, then how is that different from the way it always was?
Because there's no such thing as counting the amount of days that you're out of the country. If I'm out of these amount, it used to be thought that residency was evaluated based on a certain amount of days.
Yes.
It is no longer that way. It is evaluated by the physical amount of time you are in or out of the country.
But isn't that the same?
No. It
No.
is and it isn't. It is and it isn't. It depends. You may have been of the thought to say, listen, I traveled and I was gone 131 days. Why did I lose my residency? And today, if you are within your first year of Aliyah, you will have lost your residency after that 1 month of being out of the country, unless you let Bituach Leumi know. And even if you did let Bituach Leumi know, they still might decide, you know what, this person really is not interested in being a resident. They're just going in and out, and they're out significantly more than they're in. Howard, you had a question.
yeah, on the website, thank you, on the website, to send a note that you'll be out for the 2-month period. I'm on it now. It says no Seap Nuyar. It asks for topics.
You went on the website or you went to our website?
When I actually just registered now.
Oh, for your portal?
Yeah,
So go to the Tzur Kesher
I did. Yeah.
and
Then it
go to
says
Bituach, go to Bituach V'Gvi'ah on the right. That's the drop down is Bituach and Gvi'ah.
I'll go to Gvia. Oh, Bivor Gvia.
No, Howard, I'm happy to do it with you privately, okay?
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Ivan, did you have a question? Can't hear me, Ivan. You're muted. Ivan, you're muted.
Unmute. You hear me now?
Yes, hi.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I've been trying to get my personal service.
Ivan, just a minute. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Zweig.
thank you. What I'm trying to understand is for the purpose of not Bituach Leumi, but in general, am I considered a resident if I'm here for more than 183 days? Nothing to do with the health insurance.
Forget it. Just that number 183, just go poof, and it's out of everyone's head. There's no such thing as 183.
So how do I
Nothing.
know? So my question is, for federal US tax purposes, if to be considered a resident of Israel, how do I qualify that?
Ask an accountant. Because you're combining two different countries' rules. Israel's rule says, well, first of all, there's a resident from a tax law perspective. Sorry, I apologize. There's a resident from a tax law perspective and a resident from Bituach Leumi. Remember, I said earlier that Bituach Leumi is not the same as the tax authority. And I do believe that the tax authority, Liz or Roni, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the tax authority says for tax purposes, the number 183 days.
So again, so can I understand that to mean to be considered a resident, not for Bituach Leumi purposes, it's still the 183 days?
For taxes only, not Bituach Leumi.
Okay, great, thank you, answered my question. But I am referring basically to the treaty that says you don't have to pay taxes for certain items if you're a resident in Israel.
For tax only, for the tax authority only. Now, Ivan, Ivan, I know has a question. Ivan, yes.
Miriam, okay, I have another question.
Okay, just 1 second. Yes, Ivan. Ivan, you're muted. Ivan, you're muted. All right, never mind. Yes, Mr. Zweig.
So we just arrived back after being away for 3 months. We originally came on Aliyah in August. Does any of what you're talking about, these changes, impact us immediately?
Yes. What do you mean?
What I mean is, you were just saying these new laws were just promulgated. So we're here.
Yes, it doesn't matter that you're here since August. It's now, if tomorrow you got on a plane, you made Aliyah in August, and tomorrow you got on a plane and you're going to be gone for more than a month, yes, this applies to you.
Okay, but the fact that we were away for this past 3 months is just fact. There's nothing retroactive.
If you haven't lost your residency, then I'm very happy for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I just need to say it again. There is no longer.
They should check that they didn't lose.
Yes, that's true. There is no longer any type of number associated with the definition of residency for Bituach Leumi.
So how can somebody
Lila, just 1 second. I just need to finish my sentence, and it's nice to see you. It's really important that, because I'm looking at a question here, does 183-day minimum have an effect on maintaining healthcare coverage? If you lose your residency, you will lose your standing with your Kupat Cholim. Does that mean the Kupat Cholim might still continue to charge you for your supplement? Possibly, and I wouldn't want you to get kicked off your supplement. But if you were to go into the doctor, you might find that, oh, you can't see the doctor. There would be, like a sign, not a sign, but there would be a comment on your file associated with your Tudat Zehut number that you are that you need to speak to Bituach Leumi. So somebody asked a question, does 183-day minimum have an effect on maintaining health coverage? That was the purpose of today's webinar. And the answer is yes, but it is no longer an 183-day minimum. That number is out the window. It is all about where are you physically in the country, when are you physically in the country, and that is the time that will be evaluated in a 12-month period, in particular in the first year of Aliyah. Lila.
So regarding the residency, how can one make sure that one is not going to lose residency? If you need to leave the country for 2 months, for 3 months, for whatever, and you send them a letter on the website and you don't hear back from them, what is the cutoff? How can we possibly know that we will not lose our residency? You leave the country, you take care of whatever you need to take care of, and you come back and you find out that they're refunding the money that you've paid on automatic deductions to Bituach Leumi, and they have removed your residency. So
Yes, that
how
happened
do
to
you
somebody
know?
who's listening. So first and foremost, the country's not saying to anyone, you're here, you're stuck here, don't go anywhere. On the other hand, the country is saying, we're giving you all of these socialized benefits. Your center of life needs to be here in Israel. Canada happens to have something very similar if anybody here is from Ontario or Montreal. But the United States does not. So now you've left for your 2 months and you came home, and now you left again and you came home here to Israel. Okay, it's not that Bituach Leumi will not reinstate your residency. You might not even have lost your residency if you let them know. But now you're in and out, in and out, in and out. And somebody says, you know, she's been out a lot more than she's been in. And you might get a call to say, what's the plan? Now, life happens. Sometimes we have family obligations abroad that take us out of the country for long periods of time. Sometimes we have business obligations. There's always an answer to that question. I don't believe that there's anybody here going abroad for the fun and the sun for long stretches of time. And it's on a case-by-case basis, Lila. So if I had to leave because of a family obligation and somebody else was leaving for who knows what, and the third person was leaving for who knows what, it might all be evaluated independently. And you're right, that's frustrating. There is no black and white answer. There is none.
Is the answer different for people who work out of the country?
Yes, the answer is different if they work out of the country, and especially if they are married, because then that person often has a spouse and a house here. They might not have a spouse and a house, and they might still be working out of the country. And then there is another way to let Bituach Leumi know. But again, is that person out of the country 9 months out of the year? Or is the person just in and out a lot? You don't have to answer. It's a hypothetical question that I'm asking. We'll just take one or two more questions.
So are you saying that now there is no objective limit on how many months you're allowed to be out of the country? Everything is subjectively analyzed by Bituach Leumi depending on whatever they feel is legitimate or not?
There is always the concept of where is your center of life. If a person is out of the country for 9 months in a 12-month period, no matter what country, it's safe to say that the center of that person's life was not in Israel because they were abroad for 9 months' time. Now, there might have been a reason, maybe somebody, who knows what. And then on a case by case, that would be evaluated by Bituach Leumi. Barry, you had a question earlier.
Just one more
Yeah, so
quick
my
thing.
question was, are they gonna backdate it? I mean, like, is it
No.
now going
No.
forward the months?
I don't believe it'll be backdated, but I do know that there is somebody here who has already lost her residency, and you should always check. You should always check.
Thank you.
How do you sign up for supplemental insurance?
So signing up for supplemental insurance through your kupa is at your kupat cholim. Bring with you your Tudat Zehut, your Tudat Dolet, right? You just made Aliyah? Not
Yes.
like last week?
Yes.
So bring your Tudat Zehut, your Tudat Dolet, your bank information, and if you still have your healthcare registration. If you don't, that's okay too. But bring your Tudat Dolet because that's what proves to them that you are an Oleh Chadash and you are eligible for not having any waiting period to use the benefits.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
If we were to continue to arrange our schedule and our time to 183 days, if
Forget
we were,
183 days. Forget it. There's no such thing.
No, I understand that it's not required anymore. But if we individually would say to ourselves, if I stay in Israel for my Aliyah year, 183 days, would we be safe in assuming that the Bituach Leumi will consider that as
No.
having stayed in Israel the majority of time?
No, no. I am trying to impress upon everyone that Bituach Leumi, within the first year specifically, is really cracking down. It doesn't mean that people can't leave, but it means that a lot of people have, right? Remember when you were in school and there was the one kid who misbehaved and then everybody had a test the next day? So over the past few years, you have had a lot of immigrants from lots of countries who have made Aliyah for the purpose of having citizenship so that they wouldn't be locked out of the country. This doesn't have to be you, but everybody gets caught into the catch-all of this
I want to ask a question.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mr.
I have a
Zweig.
question, please. I've been waiting.
Yes, Judy.
Thank you. About the Bituach Leumi, if I signed up for Horat Keva for my Kupat Cholim, do I now have to also sign up separately to pay the Bituach Leumi, or does that go automatically?
The connection between Bituach Leumi and your Kupa is that by paying Bituach Leumi, it is what enables you to be part of your Kupat Cholim. When you walked into your Kupa and said, "Hi, I am here. I need a membership card," you were able to do that because you were already registered in Bituach Leumi.
So where does that get paid from?
Where does what get paid from?
Bituach Leumi.
From you. You need to set up your monthly payments.
So that's my question, because I only see that they're taking 277 shekel for the Maccabi, but I don't see any Bituach Leumi coming out.
Judy, when did you make Aliyah?
12/12 of this year, December.
Okay, so you're still very much within your first 6 months. So you don't have any obligation to pay Bituach Leumi yet.
Got you. However, I'm leaving on April 1st. I'm gonna let them know. I'm leaving April 1st. I don't want it to be
So you'll be in touch with us so that we can help you already have everything in place.
Setting up.
Okay, setting it up.
How do I get in touch with you? Answers at?
Answers at or our phone number.
Okay, great. Thank you
Okay,
so
we're
much.
going to take just a few more questions.
Could I just
Yes.
ask you if you're past the 1 year mark, is it the same? Is the situation the same?
It probably is not the same, but I don't want to say that as a definite.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Miss Pleasure. Yes, Mr. Zweig.
So this may sound odd, but if somebody is not interested in having Bituach Leumi insurance,
It's not an option. It's not an option.
But so one could in theory get themselves evaluated and get where they don't get it, but they still have to pay for it, even if the government, even if Bituach Leumi says, you're not a citizen, we don't want to give it to you.
You're not, you mean a person who is choosing not to be part.
Right.
By law, everyone who is a resident of the country,
right.
Even somebody who's a temporary resident, right? That's a different kind of status. Even someone who's a temporary resident also has the responsibility to paying Bituach Leumi.
Right, but Bituach Leumi can, in theory, say to you, if you have been out of the country more than 8 months or 10 months, we don't want to give you the coverage.
But now you come back to be here?
Right.
No, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
No,
unless you're going to be here for a week or two, you're not going to be here for any amount of time.
Okay,
it doesn't really work that way.
Right. All right, it's theoretical, but in theory, one is required to pay even though they're not accepted on the plan.
It's not a plan. It's not a plan. Your Kupat Cholim is a plan. okay?
Right.
But, I'll give you an example. There was a gentleman who left and he lost his residency, and it was a year or two later, and he died. He died abroad. Now, an Israeli citizen who's recognized by Bituach Leumi, if they're abroad, has the ability to be buried here in Israel under Bituach Leumi if you want to be buried through, have Bituach Leumi pay for it, which he did. But he had lost his residency. And Bituach Leumi said, I'm so sorry, but you're not considered an insured person. So it's not just about healthcare. It's about a lot of other things, and it's an obligation for all residents of the country. I can't
Okay.
stress it enough.
One last question, if I might, just simply, if somebody dies abroad, but they are a resident of Aretz, are they still entitled to burial in Aretz if they just happen to pass away when they're abroad?
Yes. I mean,
Okay,
nobody else is going to pay for that plane ticket, but the burial.
Ask
Right.
how would, hi, I just have a question. It's Naomi's wife. How would they have disseminated this information? We had no idea about this. Had we not participated on this webinar?
So first, I'm very happy that you and everybody else joined the webinar. That's number
Thank you.
one. Number two, I put together this webinar. We all have our specialties at Nefesh B'Nefesh in our department, in the Answers and Advocacy department, and we all have our contacts, and Bituach Leumi and Residency is one of mine. And I saw so many people losing their residency that I felt that it was time to have such a conversation. And then with a conversation that I had with my counterpart in Bituach Leumi, and this all came out literally just a few hours ago, I knew that it was even more important. How would you get this information? Well, people in their first year should be getting our monthly emails in which this will be included. We will probably put out some type of PSA. The people in Nefesh B'Nefesh don't know this yet. You are the first to know. And in our post Aliyah guide, if you just made Aliyah in August, I don't know if it was listed there in August, but Judy, who made Aliyah in December, in the post Aliyah guide received at the airport, or in Miswat Panim, if you made Aliyah here, it said on the passport page about the importance of letting Bituach Leumi know about travel.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, yes, go ahead, Ken.
Hi.
Last question.
Last question. So all this just came out recently, today or whatever. So
Today.
So for example, I was out of the country for 5 weeks in November. Is this retroactive to November?
It's not retroactive. Have you been to your Kuppah since November?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then you should be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I've kept the recording until this time, and the person responsible for the recordings is out of the country, but I know that she will get to it to have it sent to you together with all of the different links that were in the chat. And with that, I wish everybody a safe and wonderful night. Good night.
Thank you.